Celebration TV. Revealing Jesus, releasing destinies. This is Celebration TV.
To 15.7 trillion naira at the end of December 2018.
Senior Democrats have responded by accusing him of committing a gross offense.
The All Progressives Congress has vowed to punish the Oyo State Governor, Ibikule Amoso.
Welcome to Celebration Television News Desk. I am James Comfort. Thank you so very much for joining us. Quickly a look at the news making the headlines for today. From the local scene, Frank Edwards to float clothing line soon, Rich Boy Apparel. Messaging will clinch his best gospel artist at AFRIMA 2019. From the foreign scene, Kanye West Jesus is King debuts at #1 on Billboard 200 chart. On business, Telecom firms get 5 days to stop illegal deductions. On sport, forget the Champions League, Lille. Not even Messi can drag these back aside to European glory. Stay with us as we bring you the details of the news just right after this time out. Welcome back, and now the news in details. Frank Edwards to float clothing line soon, known as Rich Boy Apparel. Anyone who has been following gospel music singer Frank Edwards for a while now will attest that he has always had his eyes on owning a clothing line. The fashion business has always been something he is interested in, and merchandising is something that celebrities naturally gravitate towards because of their followers. In several of his posts in the past few years, we have seen him don several Frank Edwards brand wear and gadgets, and it looks like it's finally all coming together. The Umama Krona recently shared on his Instagram page a partial picture of himself wearing a Rich Boy Apparel long-sleeve t-shirt with his signature icon on it, and the post read, "What is coming is bigger than what was. Team Low-Key." I guess there is more to that. Now, in more news unfolding, Isaka, 3 ADC lawmakers meet Abiodun. The governorship candidate of the African Democratic Congress in the 2019 election, Woyega Isaka, has said he and other members of the party, including 3 members of the State House of Assembly, may join the All Progressives Congress. Isaka had on Monday night with chieftains of the ADC held a closed-door meeting with Governor Dakpo Abiodun at the governor's office in Okemosa, Abeokuta. Some of the political leaders that accompanied Isaka to the meeting included Joju Fadero Nuruddin Olaleye, Dipo Sofowora Kola Ogunleye, Razak Odutan, Chief Mrs. Mary Ogunjobi, and 3 ADC state legislators Wahab Egugbogun, Adegoke Adeyanju, and Jamili Akingbadi. Speaking with reporters after the meeting, Isaka hinted that he and his loyalists might soon announce their exits from the ADC to join the APC. The governorship candidate said he had confidence that the present administration was taking the state to a higher pedestal, adding that with what was on ground, the administration was moving in the right direction. The governor at the meeting was said to have expressed satisfaction about working with Isaka and his political structure. Still from the local scene, Mercy Chinwo clinches Best Gospel Artist at AFRIMA 2019. Omeikananya singer Mercy Chinwo clinched the African Music Magazine Award AFRIMA for the Best Gospel Artist of the Year 2019. Some of the gospel artists in the category include Frank Edwards, Nigeria, Gloria Muliro, Kenya, Bethel Revival Choir, Ghana, Papa Dennis, Kenya; Miguel Bulia, Angola; Diane Hamilton, Ghana; Icha Kavons, Congo; Willie Paul, Kenya; and Winnie Mashaba, representing South Africa. The award, which took place in Dallas, Texas on the 25th and 26th of October, was an all-Africa gathering with the best of Africa's creatives in attendance. Mercy has shown that she is no run-of-the-mill gospel artist by consistently churching great gospel sounds in the past 2 years. Finally, from the local scene, Makinde inaugurates wife as AIDS Control Board Chair. The Oyo State Governor, Mr. Seyi Makinde, on Tuesday inaugurated the board of the Oyo State Agency for the Control of AIDS with his wife Tamunominini as the chairman. He noted that dealing with the scourge of AIDS is of utmost importance to this administration. A statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Mr. Taiwo Adisa, added that one Dr. Lanre Abbas was the Executive Secretary. Makinde said health is one of the pillars which this administration is resting on, and dealing with the scourge of HIV in our society is of utmost importance to his administration. Abbas maintained that Makinde's administration's focus on the health sector had seen it pay particular attention to HIV and AIDS response by ensuring that people had access to relevant information, HIV testing services, and access to treatment, care, and support for people living with the virus. Coming up next is news from the foreign scene. Do well to stay with us. We'll be right back.
Open Heavens, Lagos State. Shout G! I'll see you.
Welcome back. In foreign news now. Kanye West, Jesus is King, debuts at #1 on Billboard 200 charts. According to Billboard.com, Kanye West's Jesus is King album has clinched the #1 spot on the Billboard 200 charts. Kanye West returns to a familiar spot on the Billboard 200 albums chart as his latest release, Jesus is King, debuts at #1. It's his record-tying 9th consecutive debut at #1. Jesus is King was released on October 25th via Good Music Def Jam Recordings and earned 264,000 equivalent album units in the U.S. in the week ending October 31st, according to Nelson Music. Of that sum, 109,000 were in album sales, while the rest was powered largely by streaming activities. The Billboard 200 chart ranks the most popular albums of the week in the U.S. based on multi-metric consumption as measured in equivalent album units. Units are comprised of traditional album sales, track equivalent albums, and streaming equivalent albums. The new November 9th dated chart, where Jesus is King bounced to #1, was posted in full on Billboard's website yesterday. Of Jesus is King total unit start of 264,000, album sales comprise 109,000, TEA units equal 3,000, and SEA units total 151,000. The latter sum translates to 196.9 million on-demand audio streams for the album's 11 tracks. From the foreign scene still, Democrats claim victory in key Virginia and Kentucky elections. U.S. Democrats have made gains in key state elections in what is seen as a blow to President Donald Trump. Democrat Andy Bashir claimed victory in Kentucky's governor vote after a tight race in the conservative-leaning state. Meanwhile, Democrats seized full control of legislature in Virginia for the first time in over 20 years. The results are being viewed as a gauge of political mood ahead of next year's presidential election. However, Republicans managed to hold on to power in the Mississippi governor vote following a closely fought race. In a speech to thousands of supporters, Mr. Trump said a loss for Mr. Bevin would be characterized as the greatest defeat in the history of the world by his critics. Mr. Trump, who won Kentucky in the 2016 presidential election, said Mr. Bashir was too extreme and too dangerous to govern the state. Meanwhile, in Virginia, Democrats overturned Republican majorities in both chambers of the state legislature. Although the presidential election is more than a year away, critics may seize on Tuesday's result as a reflection of Mr. Trump's popularity among voters as he faces an impeachment inquiry. On business, telecom firms get 5 days to stop illegal deductions. We'll be back with the details of the news after this break.
Join me in Oyo State of Nigeria as we bask in the euphoria of God's grace and glory. It is our Men Conference 2019. We will be considering this year the man after God's heart. God is interested in men. God is interested in making and molding men. He said to Matthew, the custom officer, in Matthew chapter 9 and verse 9, follow me. God wants to make you by his word, make you by his presence, make you by his spirit. The word of God will be coming live and direct, so powerful and outstanding.
Men are much, husbands are many, fathers are few.
There will be massive, mighty miracles. There will be the prophetic release of grace, and we'll be laying hands on certain men as led by the Spirit. November 13, 14, 15, and come gather with your fellow men as we enjoy the grace of God. It's going to be outstanding. I invite you to Oyo State, Nigeria, for our Men Conference 2019, and I pray you will be the man after God's heart.
Welcome back in Business News Now. Telecom firms get 5 days to stop illegal deductions. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Patami, has ordered the Nigerian Communications Commission to implement a directive on the reduction of the cost of data in the country. Patami had given the directives in October after receiving a progress report on the implementation of short-term performance targets set for the NCC. The minister restated the directives during the inauguration of a new executive commissioner of the NCC, Adeleke Adewolu, in Abuja on Tuesday. He explained that he was not satisfied with the explanations made by the NCC after he issued the directives and ordered the commission to take immediate action on the matter. The minister said the NCC should act on the directives within 5 working days and report back to him with feedback. According to him, Nigerians are complaining over illegal deductions of their data, a situation which he said also applies to him. Also stressing the need for a reduction in the cost of data, he said, also I directed the NCC to reduce the price of data as well. Patami insisted that the NCC's major responsibility was to protect the consumer and not the service providers. Further directing the board and the management of the NCC to immediately sit down and address some pending issues that I have been talking about, Patami said he would face a panel on Saturday to defend the ministry's achievement so far. He added that he would face another panel to be chaired by the president on December 1st, where he would present a report on the activities of the ministry and its parastatals. More news from business. Labor rights states set for minimum wage negotiations. The organized labor is set to commence discussions with the state government on the new minimum wage for workers in their respective states vis-a-vis the recent agreement it reached with the federal government on the consequential adjustments. Already, the Joint National Public Service Negotiating Council, which negotiated the consequential adjustments arising from the new minimum wage of 30,000 naira with the federal government, said on Tuesday that it had written to the state government on the issue and directed the representatives of the workers' unions to commence the negotiations. The secretary of the JNPSNC, Alade Lawal, said a draft of the letter to be sent to the state government was ready. Alade, who spoke with journalists in Abuja after a meeting with the joint negotiating councils from all the 36 states of the federation, said although Labour had yet to receive a circular from the federal government through National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission, the council had improvised a replica suitable for the state councils to work within their negotiations. According to the council's secretary, the agreement with the federal government is the minimum that all state negotiations must achieve, stressing that in some states where pay packages poor, percentage increase will be higher than what was agreed with the federal government. Chairman of the JNPSNC, Simon Echeva, said the meeting with state councils was important because Labour was eager to start negotiations with state governments, adding that any governor that acted against the wish of workers under new wage structure implementation deserved to be impeached. He said that it will not be difficult for the state governments to constitute negotiating committee since all members were principal government officers statutorily qualified to be on board. News from the world of sports is up next, and quite intriguing matches from yesterday's Champions League fixtures. Stay with us.
Shout Jesus!
It doesn't matter how many they are troubling your life. Anyone that has taken your issue, they have made up their mind that until you go down, they will not rest. In the name that is above every other name, you will see their end.
A sure word.
Power! Power! Yes!
Get ready for the outburst of uncommon grace as the dynamic mother Dr. Lisa Suleiman storms Uzaire with open heavens. Date 6 November 2019. Time 5 p.m. Happening at Iowa Secondary School, Uzaire Auchi, Oyo State, Nigeria. For inquiries, please call +234 806 464 6180. Open heavens, Uzaire.
Welcome back, and now it's news from the world of sports. Chelsea fight back to draw Thriller. Chelsea mounted a stirring fight back from 4-1 down to end a crucial Champions League point as Ajax ended with 9 men on a night of high drama at Stamford Bridge. The Dutch champions semi-finalists last season were in calm control and looked on course for victory when Donny van de Beek gave them a 3-goal lead 10 minutes after the break. But in a chaotic closing period, Chelsea completed a remarkable recovery as the visitors lost their discipline. Having pulled one back through Cesar Azpilicueta's close-range finish to make it 4-2, the game turned on its head in 60 seconds of high drama in the 68 minutes. Dele Blind fouled Blue striker Tammy Abraham. Referee Gianluca Rocci allowed play to continue, and a shot then hit Joe Vietnam's arm in the 18-yard box. Rocci awarded a penalty, went back and showed Blind a second yellow card, with yellow centre-back Vetman also sent off seconds later for the handball. The Ginho scored from the spot for the second time in the game to set up a frantic finale. Substitute Reece James 19 pulled Chelsea level and became the club's youngest Champions League goal scorer with a low strike from a rebound after Kurt Zuma had headed against the bar. With the host pushing for a winner and backed by a buoyant crowd, Azpilicueta thought he had scored their 5th goal, only for the video assistant referee to intervene and detect a handball by Abraham. It was an ending to match the game's opening, which featured 2 goals in the first 4 minutes. Abraham flicking Quincy Promes' free kick into his own net before Jorginho equalized with his first penalty after Christian Pulisic was fouled. Ajax retook the lead when Promes headed in a brilliant cross from Hakim Ziyech, whose free kick from a tight angle led to the third goal as the ball came back off the post and went in after hitting home keeper Kepa Arrizabalaga in the face. Van der Beek looked to have settled matters, finishing off from 12 yards when unmarked, only for Chelsea to rally in stunning style. Both sides had chances in the closing moments, but in the end settled for a draw, which leaves them both level on 7 points with Valencia, who beat Lille 4-1 in this extremely tight Group H. Still from the world of sports, Dortmund come from behind to beat Inter. Achraf Hakimi scored 2 second-half goals as Borussia Dortmund overturned a 2-goal deficit to beat Inter Milan in a thriller at the Westfalen Stadium. The 21-year-old right-back pulled one back off his shin before firing the winner in the 77th minute after Julian Brandt equalized for the host. First-half goals from Lautaro Martinez and Matthias Vecino had given Antonio Conte's side a 2-0 lead. Dortmund move above Inter into second spot in Champions League Group F. The German side are just a point behind leaders Barcelona, who were held to a surprise goalless draw at the Nou Camp by Slavia Prague. The visitors took the lead in the 5th minute when Martinez fired in from close range as the Italian side started brightly. Dortmund responded, but Mario Götze's effort was well saved by visiting captain Semir Hajinovic before Vecino applied finishing touch to a sweeping team move. History was against the hosts, who had not won a Champions League match after being behind at halftime since October 2001, but they produced 14 shots at goal after the break. Morocco international Hakimi, who is on a 2-year loan from Real Madrid, got the ball rolling with his third European goal of the campaign with an untidy but effective finish. German striker Brandt then restored parity before Hakim, who has now scored 4 of Dortmund's 5 European goals this term, combined with Englishman Jadon Sancho to slot the winner past Hajinovic. Dortmund traveled to group leaders Barcelona in their next match on Wednesday, 27th November, while Inter go to bottom club Slavia at the same time. And finally, on sports news and news desk, forget the Champions League Lille. Not even Messi can drag this back aside to European glory. The Argentine wants to get his hands on Europe's top-tier club trophy once again, but on this evidence he will have to wait. Lionel Messi has made no bones about his desire to win the Champions League again, but if Barcelona continues like this, he will only be able to touch it in his dreams. The Argentine star, 32, is drifting into the final years of his career and last tasted European glory in 2015. Messi, widely considered the best player of all time, has lifted the trophy 4 times but only once in the last 8 years. After horrendous collapses against Liverpool and Roma in the previous 2 seasons, Barca are showing little evidence they will be capable of satisfying Messi's deepening hunger this season. Tuesday's 0-0 home draw with Slavia Prague means the Catalans are unbeaten and lead Group F with 8 points from 4 games, but they have not produced a single convincing display in the competition this season. The lead still lead La Liga 2 despite a humiliating 3-1 defeat by Levante on Saturday, but these performances aren't fooling anybody. The nerve started early for the hosts with Marc-Andre ter Stegen and Clement Lenglet scrambling to keep the ball out of the near post. Instead, Jindřich Trbojevič's side got forward in numbers, unafraid of the Caverna's Camp Nou and their opponent's illustrious history and star-studded lineup. Gerard Piqué was in the book early for taking down the troublesome Peter Olayinka, the Spanish defender's 9th yellow card in 14 games this campaign. He had 7 in 52 appearances last year. Nelson Semedo soon joined Piqué in referee Michael Oliver's notebook, and Slavia became more daring as Barcelona struggled. Antonio Griezmann struggled to make relevant contributions from the left. Ousmane Dembele lost the ball time and again on the right. Arturo Vidal ran around like a headless chicken, and only Messi threatened. The Argentine maestro, however, produced one heart-stopping dribble and strike, cannoning the ball against the crossbar in Barcelona's best opportunity of the first half. And that has been the size of the news for today from Celebration Television News Desk. But just in case you missed out, here is a recap of the headlines. From the local scene, Frank Edwards to float clothing line soon, known as Rich Boy Apparel. Mercy Chinwo clinches Best Gospel Artist at AFRIMA 2019. From the foreign scene, Kanye West, Jesus is King, debuts at #1 on Billboard 200 chart. On business, Telecom firms get 5 days to stop illegal deductions. On sports news, forget the Champions League, Lille. Not even Messi can drag this back aside to European glory. Don't forget to stay connected to us through our social media platforms and handles to be kept abreast of news and other events as they unfold. On Facebook, it is Celebration TV. On Instagram, My Celebration TV. On Twitter, My Celebration TV. And on YouTube, www.youtube.com/Celebration TV. I am James Comfort, and thank you so very much for joining us.